Hello and welcome into another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm the football voice of the Hoyas, Jeremy Huber, joined by Georgetown head coach Rob Scarlatta, coming off an exciting win, coach, 50-47 in overtime over Bucknell. Again, we talked a little bit before the women's basketball game. I saw you the next day. A lot to kind of coach off of, but also an exciting way to win a ball game.
Yeah, it was a fun trip because we got the win in the end. So, uh, as we talked about, it was about three football games all in one. It was a 4 hour plus game, and always great to be able to go on the road in the Patriot League and come back to the Hilltop with a win.
Yeah, and the excitement, and you've talked about it all year long. This team has so much fight in it, and really, besides the Columbia game, every game this year, losses, wins, you've really it's been close. Fourth quarter, you've been in the game, having a chance to win every single time. What does this game, in the context of the others, say about your team?
Yeah, throughout the whole year, we just talked about, don't worry about the result, just play as hard as you can, as long as you can. Once there's all zeros on the clock, whether it's a fourth quarter or an overtime, we had the Penn loss, which I was really proud of our kids, how they fought in overtime, and the Bucknell win. So, for us, it's about how we're playing each play, being able to let some of the mistakes go and ultimately just keep raising the level for this football team. So, I give a lot of credit to the senior leadership and the fifth-year leadership, and our younger guys who are playing a lot of football have totally bought in and have played hard, throughout the year.
Coach, let's start on the offensive end. All kinds of numbers put up by your guys. Really the star of the show, Jimmy Kibble, the wide receiver, 8 catches, 179 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I'd like to say it's a breakout game, but he's kind of been doing this all year in stretches with those big plays and that big playability.
Yeah, TK's got a lot of weapons, and Brock has come up great for us in games, and so is Jimmy. So to have 2 weapons on the outside and 2 people you have to worry about, that's been great for us. What I've seen with Jimmy is he's been able to take the ordinary play and make it extraordinary. We talk about doing uncommon things during the season, and throughout that game, whether it's a 95-yard touchdown off of the goal line on a deep ball, or the touchdown to tie the game in regulation, which was a garden variety short hitch pass that he turned into a touchdown. He's been able to take every opportunity he's been given and be an impact player for us.
Coach, we mentioned TK, and let's get to him. He misses the previous game with an injury, gets the bye week, heals up. And again, kind of that TK game, couple mistakes, but also some big plays when you need it from your quarterback.
You don't want to be in a game where you're up big and then you're sitting there down 7 with whatever it is under 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And TK made a mistake and threw an interception in that stretch where we gave up a couple of deep balls. And it's one of those games where, the momentum starts going and you're holding on to it and saying, hey, can we respond, as opposed to react to what happened. And, TK was upset with himself after the mistake and then reset and came back out. So, to be able to take us down the field in another 2-minute drill, just like he did in the Fordham game, to get us into the overtime, that was huge. And he did a great job of keeping the offense, calm and collected, and just had that air about him to say, hey, there's no question we're going to go out and do this. We run a lot of 2-minute drill here in practice throughout the weeks, whether it's in Skelly or full team, and he was telling everybody, hey, we do this every week. This isn't a problem. Let's just get going. So really proud of how he's done a great job being the leader, taking responsibility for when he makes mistakes and playing at an extremely high level. He threw for over 340 yards again, coming back after being out a week, and didn't really look rusty. So, extremely proud of how he's conducted himself throughout the year, become a leader, and is, and drives our offense right now.
Coach, you talked about that defense. Again, I think you'll admit far too many big plays given up, but also your guys making plays. By my count, you had 13 tackles for loss, I believe 5 sacks, a couple turnovers forced as well. What does that kind of say about your units? Again, giving up the big plays, but also you have some guys who are playmakers on this team.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that that's what the game is going to be remembered for in the fourth quarter, because that's the best first quarter of football we've played. We held Bucknell to 2 drives and forced a safety, as well as turning them over. So, for us, our defense, we always want people to watch our defense and say they play with relentless effort. And even in that stretch in the fourth quarter, we came up with 2 big fourth quarter stops, a goal line stop with a forced turnover on a great play by Pop Ely, get the ball out, as well as an interception, and he added to the game. So, as you go through it, like I said at the start, it's about 3 games in one. There are a lot of things that happen. Very proud of how the defense stood up. They made some mistakes in the fourth quarter and responded well in the overtime. Held the Bucknell to the field goal and set us up to win the game with a touchdown at the end.
Coach, we're going to talk about David Ely in just a bit, but wanted to kind of talk about the fact that you're seeing this on offense, you're seeing it on defense, all these young guys. You've told me for a while now, you guys have had some really good recruiting classes that you've been happy with. How nice is it to see that guys get out there and produce?
Yeah, it's one of those things where 11th game of the year, 10th game of the year, you stop talking about guys being newcomers. They're not freshmen anymore. They have 400 and 500 reps under their belt in games. And it's great to look at it and say, hey, we don't lose a lot to graduation. We don't lose a lot when you look at what we're going to come back with, in the 24 campaign. So, those are things for after, the season we'll take a look at. And it's been great to see their progression, how they've bought in. And I really give the coaches a lot of credit. We've kept things simple enough that we can onboard some really talented players. And now we're starting to progress and be able to do a little bit more with them as they've gotten used to our systems and just the level of play in the Patriot League.
Coach, speaking of the Patriot League, a big game for you guys this weekend. It's Holy Cross, the team that's kind of dominated the league over the last few years. They'll have their fingers crossed as they're playing you guys. But you talk about that 500 season, over 500 season on the line, even a piece of the conference championship this weekend. What does it mean for your program to get a chance to play in a game like this?
You have to give Holy Cross credit. Coach Chesney's done a great job with that program, consistently being at the top of the Patriot League and kind of setting the standard. For us, that's where we want to be. We want to be the champion. We want to have a chance to go to the playoffs and win the Patriot League. So for us to be playing a really important game in November, to be in the conversation about the Patriot League championship, those are all great things. And we're working each day just to get better. There are a lot of things from the Bucknell game that we'd like to fix. The league is very close, and I'm really proud of our players for fighting through a lot of adversity throughout the season and putting us in this position to go up, play against the perennial leader within the league and show everybody where our program is and, what the standard we want to set here at Georgetown in the Patriot League.
Coach, it's been a good conversation so far, so I'm going to make you hate me for a second. What's it like dealing against Matt Sluka, one of the best there is, and what he kind of brings to that Holy Cross offense as a unit and against just taking him on individually?
Yeah, he's an X factor. You talk about it. There's these players that you have it drawn up on the board and you say, hey, I have this guy for that, and this is going to happen. And you watch it consistently. He's done it against Army. He's done it against Patriot League teams. He's done it against Ivy teams. He's done it against Boston College, where he has the ability to make plays and make people miss. And his game is not just one-dimensional with running the football. He's got some really good receivers, some great talent, and they're a solid football team throughout. I give their offensive line a lot of credit. They have a lot of fifth-year kids up there and seniors that have played a lot of football for them. So, but that, going back to your original question, that's where you want to be in November. You want to play against what people consider the best in the conference and in 1AA and FCS and go up there and see where you're at. Our team has never flinched as far as who we're playing and what the matchups are and playing freshmen or, you really don't emphasize that stuff. For our program, we want to be in these games. You want to be in important games in November. You want to be playing against the best, and you want to be in those conversations. And I think our kids have taken that challenge on when you talk about our self-development and where we want to go as a program and then compare us to these other folks. So, great challenge, really good football team, great player. I would use that term, been the offensive player of the year. I can't count how many times in the league, and we're really excited for the challenge.
And, Coach, a guy that I'm sure you're hoping has a chance to introduce himself to Matt Sluka this weekend is our Sitting Down with Sgar spotlight. It's David Ely, the linebacker for the Hoyas. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man. How you doing?
And let's start here. How exciting and nice was it for you guys when you saw Josh Stakely go in for the touchdown, that feeling of elation to get that big win against Bucknell?
Oh, man, it was electric. The whole sideline just lit up. I felt like the whole time we knew we were going to come out on top. That was our game from the jump. Just kind of let it get away from us for a second, but we rebounded, did what we needed to do.
David, you're a big play player, and to come up with the plays you did, you force a fumble, you have a pick in that contest, and just playing all around good football, leading tackler in the game. What does it mean for you to come up big in a spot like that where your team needs you?
Everything, honestly. Just blessed to be out there playing with my guys. Everybody did their job. We did what we needed to as a whole. So can't be more grateful.
Coach, bring you in on this one. David, you guys like to call Pop. We're going to get into that in a second, but he played for, I believe, one-year-old college teammates down at his high school in Miami, kind of helped with the recruiting process. I think kind of walk us through how that Georgetown connection helped get David to the hilltop.
Yeah, one of our alums, Bobby Vernon, is a year older than me, played on teams that I played on, and I'm still very close with him and about a group of 20 folks that played together at that time. So, Bobby's down at Miami Palmetto High School, working with a great staff there, and turned us on the Pop, during the recruiting process. And, one of the things we always talk about is you can watch the film and see how good of a player someone is and got combine numbers and those things. We want to know if he's our kind of guy, tough, can do it in the classroom, can do it on the field, can fight through some adversity, and is somebody that's going to help us elevate this program to the level we want to be at, which is that championship level. So, getting the personal endorsement from somebody that I trust, one of my teammates, somebody that had him, as a high school player, that meant the world to us. And, can't say enough about how Pop has done this year, transitioning from safety to linebacker. He's an absolute joy to watch. He plays one speed full. And just been great for us. So really excited to see, how he comes out this week up at Holy Cross.
David, back to you. Coach mentioned it. You made that transition. I believe, if my research is correct, you played linebacker in high school. You come here, you play safety. I think talking to Coach Doherty to start the season, he said, look, we had some injuries and we made the move, and Pop made it pretty quickly. We kind of had to go this on the fly. What was that like, having to go and kind of almost switch positions on the fly, albeit to a place that you were familiar with?
Kind of shocked me, but it wasn't wasn't nothing that I wasn't used. I'm used to being down inside the box. That's where I like to be, around the ball, make plays. So came pretty naturally, honestly.
With your aggressiveness, is it easier for you, do you think, to kind of be around the line of scrimmage and maybe not have that deep half coverage where if you make a mistake at linebacker, hopefully there's someone to get you in the back end, that could be a touchdown. Is that nice the way you like to play?
I love it. I tell them, yeah, I got y'all to bail me out. I can take my shot. And they do that.
Coach, David, let's get to you on this. You got the nickname Pop. They always say it's because you deliver blows. Do you like that nickname? And is it one that you kind of you relish in a little bit?
Yeah, I had that nickname before I started playing ball. It was really like a family nickname, but my dad was my coach when I was younger, and when I stepped on the field, it was just fitting. So kind of stuck. Everybody I know who I played ball with since a kid, that's my nickname. That's really my name to them. Nobody really knows David.
Does it ever get confusing where people think, oh, maybe he's old and mature, and that's the reason they call you Pop?
That's part of it, too.
Okay. Is there anything behind that?
I was a little old man. I always had, bad ankles and stuff.
Yeah. Well, David, we're going to hope that you stay healthy. You've played a wonderful season, and it really brought a lot to this Georgetown defense. Again, congratulations on everything. Good weekend. Good luck this weekend against Holy Cross, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pop.
That's David Ely. And before we wrap the show, Coach, we wanted to touch on something. A coach, we're talking about Bobby Vernon, a coach kind of close to your heart. You wanted to kind of pay a little bit of tribute.
Yeah, just very quickly, Tim Breslin, and I wouldn't even categorize him as a coach. He was a teacher, taught at DeMatha, at Carroll, at Gonzaga, was a DC mainstay in high school football. Was actually here before Bob Benson's staff got here in 1993. He was on this 92 staff. Coached at Georgetown for 10 years, and I know there's a lot of guys that'll hear this that know Brez and loved him, and unfortunately God took him from us last week. And when I got in this profession, Brez always told me, you're not a coach, you're a teacher, and approach it that way. If you can teach, then you'll always have a job. And he's one of the ultimate mentors and somebody that took care of his players and loved them dearly on and off the field. He coached them hard, being on the phones with Brez wasn't a joy all the time. And, you know, he's a great one. So, you know, the Georgetown family's hurting a little bit, but just understand he's in a better place. And, you know, the world is a much better place for having had Brez on the sideline in the classroom as a dear friend. So appreciate you giving me the time to pay, you know, a little bit of a tribute to Brez.
Well said, Coach. And you're going to get your guys ready, heading up to Worcester, going on a jet plane, as I believe one of the old folk singers used to say. So hopefully that gives you guys the comfort to play your best and go ahead and get a win against Holy Cross.
I appreciate it, Jeremy. Thanks for all your help.
That'll wrap it up for another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. Remember, Georgetown wraps the regular season this week at Holy Cross, noon Eastern kickoff. See it in person, or if you're in New England, watch it online on ESPN+. Thanks to Coach Scarlotta, our guest Hoya linebacker David Ely, and producer Eliza Kravitz. That's all for this edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm Jeremy Huber, Hoya Saxa.